Hey what's up guys, it's your boy Dadscap. Welcome to Market Pulse weekly recap into the CS2 economy. The player count has remained mostly stagnant, still hovering at average daily peaks of around more or less 1.4 million players. The market cap again this week isn't pumping iron like Arnold here, but pumping gold. It legit just pulverized the previous all-time high, which sat at around $5.1 billion before the trade protection update came through and started nuking everything, and is now sitting on a fat stack of $5.4 billion, casually $200 million richer. And when we take a look at the indexes, liquids are up 4.68%, brokies, low tiers, my bad, are up 5.22%, mids went up 2.24%, slightly underperforming the bottom market cap, keep that in mind, and of course the high tiers, which despite barely being able to keep up, still increased in value by 1.78%. You may have noticed that the percentage increases keep getting lower as the weeks go by, which could be a sign that the current trend is starting to run out of fuel, but we'll dig deeper in the analysis in just a bit, don't even worry champ. Knives and Gloves seems to be going through some sort of ice age. The index values have essentially just frozen since last week. That, in my opinion, is a sign that the current pump is fueled by general optimism about investment opportunities, so investing in stickers or cases or capsules or whatnot, rather than players buying things they think look cool to use in game. And the extra cosmetics seem to sort of reinforce what I just said. Charms obviously aren't items meant for investment, or at least right now, since well, the armor is there, duh. However, agents definitely are. And finally, for the cases index, we see a general uptrend across all case categories with a noticeably higher bump for 2016 to 2019 cases. The market pulse this week is overheating. While it's cool and all to see almost everything be green after the month of fallout that the trade protection update inflicted on the market, I think we're starting to near the peak of the curve. As I mentioned earlier, the broader market indexes, even though they're showing very good performance overall, are very clearly showing signs of a trending slowdown. The fact that we broke through the all-time high as if nothing had happened is likely due to the trade protection update making flipping skins almost impossible at this point, unless you're using skin scanner. Obviously, check out the link in the description. If I were to give financial advice, and I am your financial advisor, it probably wouldn't be wise to buy something right now if you expect to sell it at a profit when the trade protection period ends, since we seem to be heading towards either stagnation, if not small downtrend, within a week or two. Welcome to Case Crackdown, where we break down the happenings in the case market over the past week. And this week, 7.6 million cases were opened, quite a considerable increase of 600k compared to last week, of which the active cases share is decreased from 53 to 52%, purchasable case increased from 32 to 34%, and rare and discontinued cases slightly went down from 15 to 14%. The number one purchasable case was the Fever case, yes, with 2 million cases opened last week, literally 1 million more than last week, proving the haters wrong by showing them it still got the juice. The top active case was the Dreams and Nightmares case, decisively reclaiming the title from the Revolution case by almost reaching 1 million cases opened this week, an increase from its weekly average of 20%, sheesh, though it seems like it peaked earlier on in the week considering the fall of 47% compared to last Friday. Ouch. The number one rare case was a clutch case out of nowhere, literally RKOing the snakebite case out of its top spot and claiming it for itself, with 112,000 openings this week. Absolutely phenomenal job by the clutch case, something that cannot be said for the most liquid case, the kilowatt case once again, with market listings basically remaining the same as last week, and that despite a decrease of over 40% in this unboxing number since 7 days ago. And while the kilowatt case's stock is some sort of limbo, the Hydra case, aka the case with the most potential, started making mad moves, hell yeah my brother, recovering essentially all of its losses since the trade protection crash and keeping up the momentum with the rest of the market, if not even outperforming it since it doesn't even show signs of slowing down. Though keep in mind that this case is omega ultra super expensive, okay, so liquidity can be rough with this one. Speaking of rough, that's exactly how I described last week for our biggest crash out, the Winter Offensive case, losing almost 10% of its value this week, a whole loss of 43 cents just by itself and showing no signs of slowing down. Clearly someone's not very happy about the decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that goofier bell to never miss another market recap in the future. Welcome to winners and losers, starting up with the winning cases, and it seems like people started treating them like Pokemon cards for some reason, since, well, none of these cases could be considered as being liquid. Now that doesn't mean that there's no genuine demand behind that, however it does seem to indicate a broader macro trend amongst case investors, picking cases with more favorable supply-demand ratios rather than picking and choosing whichever case you think is more likely to gain in value because of its items, like for example the Spectrum 2 case because it has Dopplers. Paradoxically, the losers list was also filled with rare cases, as the Winter Offensive case crashed by nearly 10%, with the Prisma 2 and CSGO Weapon Case 2 following closely behind with still quite significant losses of 7% and 6% respectively. However, don't get it twisted, the Prisma 2 case, despite it being rare, is still a highly traded case, and as for the Winter Offensive and the CSGO Weapon Case 2, well, they're legit dog shit. Hold frame, don't react. Yeah. You know, every week I'm more and more flabbergasted, as my grandpa would say, by the insanity of the winning play skins. I'm not sure what the hell is going on, but yeah, as you can see, this is probably the biggest reason for why the market cap keeps busting up. I'm not getting baited into trying to explain the unexplainable, so let's move on to the losers. And once again, very predictable set of characters we see there. It's like watching The Office once again. This week featuring the Ob Green Energy field tested from the Burrow collection, losing over 11%, the AK-47 Nouveau Rouge field tested, and yes, that was perfect French, haha, from the Radiant collection, losing just under 15%, and at the very top, the M41S Stratosphere field tested, shedding almost 20% of its value. Obviously, as these skins are from collections that are actively being dropped in game, and that'll continue to be for the foreseeable future, I wouldn't suggest anyone trying to run a pump and dump scheme using them. Or do, it'd be funny to watch. In winning knives, the mid to high tier knife market pulled through this week. Finally a week without ugly knives showing their faces here. Obviously, butterfly knives being one of the most popular knives in the game, they're already very likely to appear here, especially with skins like Gamma Doppler or Tiger Tooth. The survival knife Tiger Tooth, on the other hand, is a bit of a surprise, since well, it's from the Fever case, which continues to be the most open case in the game every week. But hey, listen, it was featured in last week's thumbnail, so maybe I'm manipulating the market without even realizing it. Or maybe I'm predicting the future. Hey, wait a... Losers this week were catastrophic. Well, nope, I guess. Barely any actual loser this week for some reason, except for the Buinaf Gamma Doppler losing almost 1%, so basically nothing. But honestly, it's probably just the market doing its own thing, which means in short, it ain't that deep, bruh. Finally for gloves, winners this week were once again almost as unhinged as play skins. Like, what the actual fuck? All of these gloves are first gen gloves, meaning that they can only be found in the glove or Hydra cases. It's very possible that this insane gloves market is the main driver behind the Hydra case's top tier performance this week. And while first gen gloves were too busy mooning, second and third gen were mostly not okay. Nothing too catastrophic, but keep in mind that this is the second or third week in a row where these kinds of factory new gloves populate the entirety of the losers table. This market is actually dead. Rip to those who invested and still haven't sold. You're well and truly regarded. Welcome to ROI Radar, where we're looking for money printer hidden in the armory or the in-game store, starting off with the pinups capsule with an odds profit of 21%, an unboxing ROI of 113%, and an expected value of $1.12, or 13 cents gain. The best of them was the Kimberly at $4.90. Next up is the Warhammer 40k Trader Sturdies capsule with an odds profit of 28%, an unboxing ROI of 116%, and an expected value of $1.15, so 16 cents gain. The best of them is the Alpha Legion 1 at $5.51. And finally, the best capsule in the in-game store is the Warhammer Adeptus Asterius capsule with an odds profit of 28%, unboxing ROI of 139%, whoa, and an expected value of $1.37, so a 38 cents gain, damn! The best one was the Space Wolves at $14.96. Moving on to the armory, the third best collection was the Sport and Field collection with an odds profit of 5%, unboxing ROI of 101%, and an expected value of $1.62, so a 2 cents gain. The best one was the M41's Fade at $652. Next up was the Character Craft Stickers collection with an odds profit of 22%, an unboxing ROI of 124%, and an expected value of 50 cents, so a 10 cents gain! The best one was the Googly Eye at $17.44. And finally, the best collection in the armory were the Missing Link Charms with an odds profit of 17%, an unboxing ROI of 145%, and an expected value of $1.74, so a 54 cents gain. Wait, let me open a fucking chart right now. The best item is the Hot Howl at $72.55. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace!